I'm Anil Kumar, and in this video we will see how to represent fractions. As you know, fractions relate part to the whole, right? So not the whole thing, but part of it. Now in that case, we normally write it as some number over the other. The number on the top is called the numerator, and the number at the bottom of this bar is called the denominator, right? So numerator is the top part that represents part referred to, and the denominator, the bottom part, represents how many equal parts each whole is divided into. So that is how we define numerator and denominator, right? Now let us take examples to really understand what we are trying to say. So let's consider the fraction 2 over 5. Now in this case, 2 is the numerator, right? So the numerator here is 2, right? This is the numerator. And 5 is the denominator. And 5 is the denominator. Similarly, if I say 3 over 5, then 3 is the numerator and 5 is the denominator. Correct? In these fractions, 3 over 4 and 4 over 4. What is this 3? Well, this 3 is the numerator and 4 is denominator. Correct? Here, 4 is the numerator and 4 is the denominator. So I think we have understood how to write a fraction. So fractions are normally written with this kind of a bar, where the number on the top is called the numerator and the number below it is called the denominator. Now let us see how to represent these fractions. Now one way is, let's consider one whole thing, right? So let us say this is one whole thing. Now whenever we have fractions, we divide whole into equal parts. So in this case, denominator is 5, so the whole will be divided into 5 equal parts. That's what we mean by saying denominator, bottom part, represents how many equal parts each whole is divided into. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are equal parts in which we are going to divide this rectangle. So this seems to be longer. So I'm just starting from here. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So assume that this rectangle has been divided into 5 equal parts. Now that really represents the denominator part, which is 5. Do you see 5? So 5 is in the denominator. So we divide one whole into 5 equal parts. So denominator, bottom part, represents how many equal parts each whole is divided into. That is what it really means. Now let's talk about the numerator. Numerator is 2. Numerator, top part, represents the part referred to. So 2 out of 5, that is what we are trying to say here. So what we will do is, we'll shade the 2 parts, right? So one part has been shaded and the second part has been shaded, right? So this represents 2 over 5. Do you see that? So a whole is divided into 5 equal parts, and then you take the 2 out of them. So that represents 2 out of 5, a fraction. Now we'll do the same thing on a number line, right? So we could represent on a number line also. So on a number line, let us say this is number 0, and then we have 5 equal parts. We say 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. So this 1 has been divided into 5 equal parts. Now when we say 2 over 5, it really means the distance from 0 to 2/5. That means that much. Do you see that? That much. So this distance from here to here represents 2 over 5. So this is 2 over 5. You get an idea. So one whole is that much. Whole is divided into 5 parts. Since 5 is in the denominator, and we select 2 out of them, first, second, right? So that much distance is 2/5 of whole. That is what it means. Okay, so that is one way of representing the fractions. Well, we can also make kind of a circle, right? So a whole, like a pizza, right, is kind of like this, and this circle could be divided into 5 equal parts. Let's say 1, 2, 3, So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let me divide this circle into 5 equal parts. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So think that they are all equal, right? So these are 5 equal parts. Remember, denominator is always divided into equal parts. Important, right? Equal parts of the whole, that is denominator, right? So out of those we want 3/5. 3/5 means we'll select 3 out of them, right? So let us select 3 out of them. That is 1, 2, and 3. So we'll select these 3. That becomes 3/5. 1/5, 2/5, and 3/5. You get it, right? So that is another way of selecting 3 out of 5. Correct? At times we could have 5 pieces, let's say 5 apples, right? So we could also have a situation like this, that we have 5 apples. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they look like apple, right? So with a bug. Okay, there's more tomato. Now it's more apple. Correct. So if we have 5 apples and we want 3 out of 5, so it is 5, we want 3 out of them. That means what we can do is we can select these 3, right? So these 3 out of 5. So that represents 3 out of 5 also. Do you see that? So what we have done in this exercise, we have shown how to represent fractions in different ways. You're getting my idea, right? How to represent fractions in different ways. Now let's move forward. We have 2 more examples to go, 3/4 and 4/4. You can now pause the video and represent 3/4 in 3 different ways and 4/4 in 3 different ways. Can you do that? Well, 3 different ways could be making a rectangle, making a circle, and on a number line, right? Or if you want, you can have 4 different pieces and select 3. That could be an option also, right? So fractions could be represented in so many different forms. So I'll leave 3/4 for you as an exercise, but I'll do 4/4 since 4/4 is kind of interesting. So what we will do is we'll take these 2 cases. Let me draw a rectangle and then we'll take a circle also, right? So since the denominator is 4, what should we do? The whole should be divided into 4 equal parts. Let me divide this into 4 parts. 1 part, and then let me do it like this. 4 parts. So we have 4 equal parts. They represent the denominator. What do we need to do? Select 4 parts, right? So if I select 4 parts, what happens? Let's say we select 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, and 4 part. We select the whole. Do you see that? So what we get here is 1 whole. So we can also say 4/4 is as good as 1 whole. Get the idea? Let's do the next one. A circle, let me divide it into 4 equal parts. That's easy. Yeah, that's easy. So 2 diagonals at right angles, 4 equal parts. And if I want to select 4 parts, what will I do? I will select part number 1. Let's say we select part number 1, correct? Then we select part number 2, and then 3, and then 4. Whole is selected. Do you see that? So in both the cases, we saw 4/4 represents 1 whole, right? In case of a number line also, we could have numbers starting with 0. Let's say this is 1 part, 2 part, 3 part, and this is the 4. So 1 is divided into 4 equal parts, and in case we select 4, that means 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do we reach? We reach at 1. So 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. So in fractions, whenever numerator and denominator have the same number, then it is 1 whole. So you can say 1 whole can be written as a fraction like same numerator and denominator. Now the question for you is, can this 4/4 be equal to 5 over 5? That is the question. Is 4 over 4 equal to 5 over 5? Well, show it using one of these examples. That's the question for you. I hope you find it very interesting. I'm Anil Kumar. You can always share and subscribe my videos. Thank you and all the best.